Movie Survey by Emily Da Silva, Steven Garrido, Denise Gonzalez, and Desiree Oquendo. For our project, we wanted to figure out what people's favorite movie genres are, aka our categorical data, and how many movies they typically watch in a week, which will be our numerical data. With students spending more time than ever online and at home, we figured that this would be a fairly easy question to answer. After we got our results back from the school, we came up with a total of 418 responses.
My group and I chose to use a pie chart to display our data because it would accurately display our information the way that we wanted it to. Through the pie chart, we can see that most students prefer action movies. However, horror and comedy are not too far behind. The least preferred movie genre was drama. This is all seen in the frequency table as well. In the frequency table, we can see that even though the number of responses for other and romance were different, their frequencies were the same. This also happens for comedy and horror. This is because when the frequency was calculated, the decimal was very long and needed to be rounded. When rounded, the frequencies ended up being the same, even though the number of responses was not. My group and I chose a histogram to display our data because, like the pie chart with categorical data, a histogram would help us display our findings accurately and appropriately. In this graph, we can see that most students watch one movie during a typical week. Most students watch between 0 and 3 movies in a week. This graph has an obvious positive skew. In the frequency table, we see that all of the responses that only had one response were put down as 0. This is because when rounded, the decimal that represents the frequency of those responses can be rounded to 0.
These two pie charts, you can see that many people prefer different things. As an example, in HHS, people prefer action movies over other movies, whereas in pie chart 2, people prefer comedy movies. Also, horror movies are big in HHS since they are the second highest percentage of favorite genre, compared to pie chart 2, where it is the 4th. Although both these surveys contain different responses from different places, and the number of responses are different, both charts show a least favoritism in romance movies.
On the slide presented, we have a second survey that was researched with a similar question that we had asked with our survey, and that was, how many movies do you watch a week? The study that was researched had 1,000 U.S. respondents by Iamir Gillen, and this study found that nearly half of the respondents, which about was 43%, watched 1 or 2 movies a week, which corresponded similarly with our movie results survey that surveyed Harrison High School students from all different grades.
In conclusion, we learned that our leading genre preference is action with 30.9%, which 129 respondents out of 418 voted for. Our least preferred genre was drama with 6%, which 25 respondents voted for. For our numerical data, the leading number of movies watched a week was 1 movie, voted by 137 respondents. There were a couple people that claimed to watch 6 to 15 movies a week. I would have liked to expand our study by having the younger schools such as Washington Middle, Hamilton, and Lincoln School answer the survey as well. Having younger respondents would add to the total number of respondents and give a wider age range. This survey could possibly have had different results with a larger variety of answers to movie genres. The younger audience may watch more movies a week as well. This data would be a great, well-needed contribution to the histogram. This is what we learned from our movie survey.